Poor connection, poor connection. Same crap. I don't know what's going on. Now what? Hello, puppy dogs. Hello. You're going home tomorrow, aren't you? Babysitting duties are nearly over. It's a beautiful day today. It was about 25. Actually, it was 25 last night. It was 25 today. So it didn't change temperature.
Oh, I didn't realise that.
Dish with Trish. Hello, stranger.
Hello. I haven't got my phone on.
There's your garden. That's all we get. No more looks. There you go. See it? No. That's it. No. Just popping in. What are you talking about? You're probably just getting up, making breakfast. No, YouTube isn't losing its mind. It is a case of the toxicity like a virus has spread. Trish.
I just noticed the shoe is breaking.
Both of them breaking, yeah.
Oh my
Like
God.
that. They're still usable.
We'll have to go to Rivers next week.
Is that where these come from?
No, but they sell them.
Cucumbers are going mad. I've never... Oh, the soil is crap, but the cucumbers seem to love it. There's flowers all over the cucumbers. You can... No, you can't make it out from here. That is the cherry tomato. That is the cucumbers. Going berserk. Just as well we like cucumbers. Well, the missus does. Particularly these Lebanese ones, they're yum. It's... I tend to think a lot. Do you know what I mean, Trish? And I don't say much, but when I do try and say something that I'm going to explain to you, I've thought about it for a while. And it's really only the last 18 months that a lot of these channels are becoming the same. And they become the same because they produce the same shit. Toxicity, hatred, anger against someone else, try and raise money by utilising hatred. And there's so many that have done it. So the toxic part for me, believe it or not, no matter who the channel owner is, it's the participants in the side chat who nod and say, yeah, yep, okay, yep. So they endorse the behaviour. So the toxicity isn't only the channel owner, it's confirmed and reaffirmed by side chat. And I don't go anywhere now, just about. It's like a virus, and it's very toxic, and there's no truth. It's all make-believe and nonsense and hearsay and... Oh, look. The puppies are going inside.
Well,
with the puppy whisperer.
Could be a few mozzies.
Yeah.
Put it round the other side as well.
Oh, I don't know what I've done. I buggered it up again. Oh, no point pointing it down towards the dogs if they're not there. Put it around. Yeah, so that's what I believe. It's like an epidemic of people going to shit shows.
Love ya.
And then joining in, and the sad part is that I've noticed a lot of people go to most channels. What I mean by that? Well, probably 60 to 70% of the people in any given chat are in all chats. Do you know what I mean? Saying, I support you for example. I support Trisha. And they'll go to another channel and say, yeah, I don't like her. So it's all nonsense and toxic. If there's something that I've learned in my life is that if you don't get something out of what you're doing or where you are or who you are, you have to stop doing it because you're participating in the nonsense. This is just for me. I'm not telling you to do a damn thing. But it saddens me. What used to be the mall of Boyd, with all these variety shops, different ones, is basically you go to the same mall, but all the shops sell the same shit. on a different day. And some know what they're doing. Trish, you know what I mean? Some people are very aware of what they're doing and how they're creating the empire of dirt. And it saddens me in a big way. But I don't run people's lives. The only thing that I can do is not participate. I will be asking you shortly to join me. I'm going to do a series in probably about 4 to 5 months of just one-on-one interviews with people, finding out about their life, their story. Because I find that more interesting. You don't need to tell them where you were born, what time, where you live. You know what I mean? A person's story can be told with anonymity as well, for the reasons that it'd be nice to get to know somebody based on their story, on their life. We all have done crap, we've all mucked up, we've all done some great things. We're all different. And I'm pretty sure that people will be interested in listening to the story of the person instead of the rumours of a person, if you get where I'm going with this. So, yeah, some people might come on and bullshit and might embellish the truth, and that's okay. That's what happens in real life. But I won't allow anyone to come on and lie. And I won't allow anyone to come on and decide that they're going to turn it into a shit show, because at least I have the skill of pressing a button that says you're gone. But the reason I'm doing it is that I'm not going to do panels with people screaming over each other, and I'm not going to attack anyone. I'm going to be anti-Boit in many ways, because I had a little bit of an experiment I did for the last week or two where I sort of told a bit of my story, and without much effort people were starting to tell bits and pieces about their story. And no one can tell your story better than you. Some people can tell a good lie and embellish a truth, and then it becomes fact. Like people misunderstand me. I don't care if people give other people money. That has never bothered me. That has never bothered me. What bothers me is people procuring money by demanding it, asking for it, sideways sort of asking for it, because that means there isn't a need. It's just agreed. And my wife and I, as you know, we wouldn't bat an eyelid to help someone in genuine need. There's a big difference. But when someone puts a dollar sign up down the bottom of their channel, links to a PayPal, links to a Streamlabs, they obviously don't need the money. They need the accolades, and they need their ego polished, which is sad. But what you just said there is what I'm trying to do with this series of one-on-ones with people, is that the truth is we have far more in common with each other than we do not. What do I mean by that? Is that most of us are the same. Our paths are different, our journey's been different, but we all have fairly regulated sort of beliefs in regards to how you treat people, how you like to be treated. So we're far more in common with each other than we are against each other. And that would be my aim, is to make it an even playing field so people can tell their story, because no one can tell my story, only me. So that's the goal for that. I really have been sad in the last 18 months watching all of this unfold. And because I sit back and I think a lot, all I can put it down to, most of it is ego. Some of it's money grab, for sure. Some of it's perceived fame, Trish. I mean, I don't know anyone famous on YouTube. Anyone at all. Even if they tell you they're famous, I don't believe it. But anyway, we have so much more to offer each other than hatred, anger, and just screaming at each other for no reason. It's silly. Money poisons. It doesn't poison us all, it poisons, and people see it as a tool. Some people see it as a tool just to get money. Some people see it as a tool for leverage. If you run the free Streamlabs, that's what I'm doing at the moment. That's all I want to be involved with people, Trish, is the basic things of life. Everyone does things differently. Like I could have done a video today. It would have been boring for most people. It was sanding back a new door we have, sanding it back, cleaning it up, varnish, wait 6 hours, sand it back. You know what I mean? But some people are actually interested in that. But the basics are that we are far more in common with each other than we're against each other. But it seems the toxicity is all about ego, money, prestige, or perceived prestige, and none of that exists. I don't think anyone makes thousands of dollars a month. I just don't understand why some people have turned that way, and it's not my place to understand, I guess, but the only thing I can do is turn my back on it. And an interesting part of my story, and I'll give you a little snippet, Trish. When I was about 9, my parents left home. It's weird, isn't it? It's true. My father used to beat my mum terribly, as a lot of people did in those days for some reason. And my mum got away, and then my old man disappeared. And for about 8 to 9 weeks I was at home by myself, scratching food together, washing my only pair of school pants, shirt, each night, going to school. I was only found out by my teacher, a lovely old lady called Mrs. Gday. She would have been 80 something, and I was in grade 4, I think, or something. Well, she followed me home one day. She knocked on the door, and I said, hello. She said, can I come in? I said, yep. She'd already figured it out. She said, can I just make a cup of tea? I said, okay. Went to the fridge, nothing in the fridge. Nothing in the cupboards. I think a tin of Spam was left or something. Well, each day, she used to have my lunch at school. She brought cereal around and milk. She understood I was there by myself. She ended up finding one of my older sisters and contacting her. So yeah, that's a little bit of my story. You know, the day my parents left home. And to some people that might be interesting. But I've never blamed my past for my future. Made me stronger, truth be known. My phone keeps going, poor connection, and then really good, and then poor connection. No, I only saw my mother a few times after that. She ended up moving in with a guy. My mum always cared, she just didn't want to get beaten up. But like, if you lived in the 70s, you'd know a lot of these stories of domestic violence, and it happens today, don't forget the 70s. But it was quite common back then. Women were treated very badly. But that's life. Like I say, I don't blame that on my past to affect my future. In fact, it made me a better father, by far. No, he just buggered off. Didn't really care. That's life. But that's only a snippet of my story. One day I'll tell it, after everyone else has told theirs. It's only fair. In my eyes, everyone is equal. Until you start breaking branches because you're hanging yourself with the rope that you were given. Then I let you go. Then I turn my back. For my benefit, not for them. Yeah. You grew up a little bit later than me, but you obviously went through the same thing. And life's not perfect. None of us have a perfect life. There are things that we all wish were different, but it is what it is, and you should make the best of what you have. Mend and make do, perhaps. There's so many good people on YouTube, sadly, that are blanketed. And often for even leaving a comment. Hello, Adams. That's life. That's what people say. Yeah, it was a vicious cycle. Although I know my grandmother, on my mother's side, my grandfather on her side, was a gentle person. Unbelievably gentle. Wouldn't harm a fly, literally. He got in trouble one day. I was about 7, I remember, when I was in the UK, and he said, we'll go down the park, and we found someone that had a soccer ball, and he must have been 60 then. And he was kicking a ball around with another old bloke and a kid and me, and he said, come on, we'll go. And we went, and I said, we're going the wrong way. He said, no, we're going up here. Well, he had 10 bob left, and he bought me a soccer ball. Did he cop it when he get home? That was the last 10 bob they had for the week. And I said, no, take it back. And I remember my grandmother saying, no, you can keep it, but I'm going to make your grandfather's life a living hell. Or words to that effect. He'd give you the shirt off his back. You did it all the time, always got into trouble. In fact, I remember my grandmother saying to him, because she always had the purse strings, where'd you get that 10 bob from? So there, like I say, someone's story is, I don't know how you'd describe it. It's a mixed fabric. There's lows and highs and all sorts of things in between. Good stuff. We tend to hang on to the good stuff because it's good. Hello, Scarlet Poppyfield. I actually put a little bit of seaweed solution into the garden yesterday because the soil is really bad. So, but we'll get something out of it. My husband's dad eat his mama. Oh, beat. Oh, that makes more sense. I'm thinking, where's this going? Ross, how are you? Locked me out of my YouTube account. Crying. Yeah, I do that with some of the things I've got. Forget the passwords and crap like that. But now I know who you are. But yeah, so when it comes to each and every person's journey or story, whichever way you want to take it, it's a very rich fabric. I mean, I'm 60 and lots of stuff's happened in my lifetime. And not all good, not all bad. But when you weigh up the balances, it's a shared experience, even though my experiences are slightly different than Trish's or Scarlett's or Ross's. They're pretty similar in many ways. Do you know what I mean? It's the similarities. When I start doing these one-on-ones, we will all get to see how similar. We differ on many subjects or beliefs or whatever, but we're very similar on a lot of other things. And I don't want 1,000 people in a room. Just a good handful, 20 or 30 people each week rocking up to see someone tell their story. And that's far more, for me personally, far more interesting than the nonsense that goes on all of the other channels, because it is nonsense. Not thinking straight, looking after my mum. Yep, we've been there and done that, Ross. It's not easy. Yeah, Awesome was going to change her name to Hammer Down or Grab You by the Throat, but she decided to go Dish with Trish, because that means you can do some cooking shows, I guess. And the other thing is that there never really is a clean slate. You know when people say, famously, on Boyd, yep, I've done stuff, but I own my shit. And they put a period behind that, as if to say, well, that's not how it works. And you have to wear it. You can work around it, trust me, that's how it can be done, but you can't just dismiss it. It's like a credit rating, you know. Say you went bankrupt, or then you did stuff and you're in big trouble. You go to a bank and say, I'd like to borrow $10,000. They go, right, just check. Okay. Oh, no, actually, no, we're not going to give you a cent because your credit's crap. Well, in life, it's the same. And online, it's worse for many people because online, there's a history. In real life, you can meet someone and not know anything about their history. Yep, no pain, no gain. It's true. I mean, I think living in pain every now and then lets you know you're alive, first of all, because it hurts. But you're right with the analogy. You don't put in, you don't get out. But there's so, like I say, the thing that I've noticed is the similarities of all these channels. It's polishing ego. It's a lot of the LOV word thrown around like it's free candy. Oh, Trish is in the chat. Oh, she's a wonderful woman, Trish. And Adam, Ross I like that guy. When I grew up, an old bloke once said to me, my grandfather, when people start, doing that sort of thing with you, like saying what a great guy you are and proud to have you around and you stand up in the community, they're pissing in your pocket. Generally, because when it gets wet, they can get their hand in there, grab your wallet. So it's like a lot of pretense, not real, true feelings. And you can make friends online as you can in real life, no question about that. That's true. But you should guard your emotional investment. So there's many times. Won't be tied to you losing a few dollars because you gave a financial investment. But if you put your emotional investment in people and then they burn you, that's not a good policy to follow. Yep, I think you summed it up with that sentence, Scarlett. Because unfortunately, I'll add to that sentence, is the vulnerability of people that are lonely, people that don't mind their name being mentioned and think, wow, people can see me. Now I'll drop $10 in. It's not the way that any of us would do it. Scarlett and Trish and the wife went to morning tea and a coffee, would laugh, carry on, get to know each other. And then Trish would stand up and say, it's been really great, but can you all give me $50 now? Wouldn't happen. Do you know what I mean? It just wouldn't happen. But for some reason, it's been normalised online that does happen. It means that is there a price for attendance? Apparently. And because people know me over the last few years, I've been around a long time on YouTube, but the last few years, all those people who have dollar signs on their channels never come to mind. Not one of them. Actually, there's a study in psychology, Scarlett, in regards to endorphins being released over many things. Sexual excitement, even the beauty of something, or the adrenaline release in regards to flight or fight, all those sort of things. And some people are very clever in raising the endorphins in people to garnish money. And that's not right. Particularly when you give someone false hope. You'll often see in chats, or I used to watch in chats, where people says, oh, this person hasn't recognised me and I've put in text 10 comments. Why don't you say hi? Now, the reason why they say that is because over many times they might have donated. They got recognised and told how perfect and beautiful and lovely they are. And then they're just getting ignored because over the last few months they haven't donated. Sad, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, let's be honest. Men and women in particular though, purchase on emotion. What do I mean by that? Well, you walk past the window and suddenly you come to a screech and say, oh, I love that dress. Squirrel. And you go and buy it. If you hadn't walked past that shop, you wouldn't have stretched your neck and said squirrel and bought it. Yeah, well, we have on occasions, but it's not happening anymore. We'll still send some gifts to people that we care for, but there'll be no, dollar sign saying you have to donate to me. Me and you seeds in my mind are here in a spirit way. Yeah, my wife and I are very much in line with the world, the universe, whatever you want to call it. And we all hurt at the same time, and we all heal at the same time. Some people get help in healing that they never imagined. But I'm not here to name any channels or people about their behaviour that I've walked away from. I don't need to do that. I think the Earth resonates at 7.2 on a scale, and so do we. We are literally in tune with the planet. Each one of us has a vibration. If anything, and I know you well enough, Trish, that you will take this well, is that if you have learnt not to emotionally invest from now on, empathy is a great thing. Sympathy is dangerous because it's an emotion. So you can empathise as much as you like, but don't get tied into other people's problems, because other people's problems are not yours. Hello, Blinky. It is. I mean, we all have, g'day buddy, we all have our issues in life, health-wise, finance, whatever. But our burden isn't to be just thrown on other people to fix. If you can, do the old bootstraps, pull them up, walk through the storm. It's something wonderful about doing it tough, as Scarlett said earlier. No pain, no gain. Very true. Yeah, logic. I mean, I discern greatly now between what I hear and then what I'm understanding what they're meaning, because what people say is not always what they mean. Sometimes they say things to cushion a narrative until they get to the point that you're convinced. Do you know what I mean? Like you're being persuaded, like some reverend in the jungle. But everyone is equal. Everyone is not better than each other. Though I'm taller. I mean, it's just a fact. But I don't like people being brought down, attacked on a constant basis, because people have real emotions. Even this is just a screen. There are people with real emotions that are tied. Like I said, you have people can bring you in and then let you go, like you're worthless. If you're a lonely person who relied on that sort of empathy, if you like, coming from someone online who now just discards you, it's very much a trauma event for them. And lots of people on here do it all the time. I have to interrupt this show to feed a magpie. He wants a biscuit, or a crumb anyway. I'm not here to tell people, like I say, what to do. Can I ask, how is Ozzy Shooter? Well, I don't know. Maybe Blinky knows. I haven't heard or seen Ozzy for a long time. Maybe he's swimming across the Atlantic as we speak to get to America. Anyway, we'll all figure it out eventually. I think last time I saw him, my memory's pretty good, about 5 months since I've seen Ozzy. But I do believe every one of us have got something to offer And if you offer it and then people put you down, well, more than likely you won't offer it again. And you'll just be one of them lurkers in the background, angry at how the whole system stinks. You know, when Blinky phones Ozzy Shooter, she calls me. Isn't that right, Blinky? She did for months. There's only a couple of people with my phone number, and Blinky's one of them. I don't give that out freely. Oh, might have a magpie war on in a minute. We have a visiting magpie from a different tree, trying to come over to where this group of magpies live. Anyway, I think it's time for me to bugger off. I am not the main attraction, but I will do, and I'll ask Blinky here now. In the future, Blinky, you might have heard that I want to do just one-on-one stories in a hangout, just with one person, and listen to their story without losing their anonymity, going down the path of how your life unfolded and what you did, the good things, crappy things, and where you are today. So I'll catch up with that. I'm not going to do a lot of them, and I don't want anyone that's, self-processed legend of YouTube. They're the last people I want. I just want to get people to tell their story, and hopefully that might, bring a bit of good back into this toxicity that we have been suffering for a good year and a half now. But it'll be one of those things that I'll just start talking and say, this is, say, Blinky, and she's in Victoria, and what we're going to do is kick back, not to the beginning of her life, but maybe at a time she remembers, tell a bit about her childhood, what she did, what happened, and just go down that path. Because, believe it or not, I would be, and I'm sure many other people would be, easy listening to hear the stories, because, like I said to Scarlett and Trish earlier, we have far more similarities than we have differences. And when people get to listen to stories of people's lives without losing their anonymity, it will be interesting. It won't be a hangout to come and abuse people. I'll have point guards out there, trust me. And they'll just be flicked, because all we're here for is to listen. And I think how I will end it, if the participant is keen enough, is at the end of, say, half an hour, whatever it takes to sort of unfold the story, say like to Blinky, would you now take some questions from the side chat? And if she says yep, and if she says no, it'll go either way, and won't be drawn out. It might be just certain things in that story that people are interested in and might want sort of a specific period or where it happened type thing. I almost blacked my channel. I got so sick of the bullshit. It's too thick now, Blinky. I don't go anywhere. The toxicity is like a virus. But this is my view. Everyone else can go and join the shit shows as much as they like. I'm not here to tell you what to do. But I'm going to go and have a shower, because I varnished a very exciting day. I sanded back a door, and then I varnished it, and then I waited 6 hours and I sanded it back again, and then I varnished it. I thought about doing a 6-hour video, but no, didn't do that. Anyway, all of you, what does Scarlett say? Mother, artist, gourmet, geologist, grandma, history buff, gardener. Oh, we'll have to have about 6 weeks with you, Scarlett. That'll take forever. Jojo will only have 10 minutes. It'll be a story. Yeah, I was born in the Bronx. All I did was steal cars until I realised I could buy them and sell them. But have a great day, all of you. Most of you are just starting. Some of you that are going to go to bed shortly, have a good sleep. And we will see you all another time. Bye-bye. Oh, and just for the rest here, sneak preview. There's Trisha's garden. That is week 5. And not a cat paw to be seen. Alright guys, have a good one. and catch you later.